Um, what's up? Just thought I'd make another video. Why? Cause like I'm in my old neighborhood again. Something about the vibes of this neighborhood just makes me wanna shoot a video. So it happens to be my birthday, so just thought why not? Like already made like a pretty long video yesterday, but then I was like, fuck it, we'll make another one. I don't really know what I'm gonna talk about though, so I'm just gonna from the top of my head. We spoke about a lot yesterday, so I guess I'm just gonna continue from there. Um, I think, you know, one of the things they say life is unfair, right? Um, one of the things that I'm particularly interested in is the effects of geography on our, I guess, the effects of geography on the outcome, in the outcome of our lives. The outcome is like not a good term. I'd say influence, the effect of geography, the influence of geography on our life, right? So I think where you are really affects the kind of opportunities you have access to. So I mean, it's a simple concept, but there are really caveats to that as well. So imagine if you're really good at sports, but you're born in a country that doesn't value sports, right? Like, so for example, India, right? It's a country of 1.2 or 3 billion people, and yet they have zero athletes, which is you know, it just doesn't make any sense. But I'd say that even when you go to a place with opportunities, so for example, if you and again I use India as an example, if you're, say for example, you are good at sports and you know you happen to be born in India, so the thing is you don't need to be good at sports, you just need to be good at cricket specifically. And if you're not good at cricket, it doesn't matter if you're good at sports or not. If you're not interested in cricket, if you don't pursue cricket, it doesn't matter if you are good at sports or not. So the caveat here is, even if you are in the land of opportunities, it's not likely that every single opportunity will be catered to or, you know, offered. It will only be specific opportunities. So you need to keep that in mind if you ever make any sort of decision to sort of move abroad. Say for example, if I am currently thinking of moving to Canada, I don't even know if that's gonna be possible, by the way, but you know what, fuck it, I'm not gonna be doing any big jobs there, because Canada, its industry is pretty bad, but it does have some industry, right? Like it has some IT jobs, like it has Amazon, Uber, stuff like that. And if I were, for example, an electrical engineer, I don't know about the opportunities there, but maybe it won't be as much as IT opportunities, you know? So really what I'm trying to say is, don't get stuck in a place that doesn't reward what you're doing. And even if you decide to move abroad, make sure that that place rewards what you're doing, right? Anyways, I mentioned Canada, and I have a funny story to tell. A friend of mine, because Hong Kong passport holders, they have like a separate policy, separate Canadian immigration policy, which basically says that they can move there for 1 year. I mean, it's a 3-year work permit, but if they stay there for 1 year, they can apply for like permanent residency. So a friend of mine, he moved to Canada in February, and he tried to look for a job when he was there, but he couldn't get a job, and now he's on his way back to Hong Kong. I think he's already here. So just goes to show you, you know, make sure where you go, wherever you're planning to go, has uh, you know, the things that reward what you do, that there are ample opportunities for what you do, right? But you know what, for my own case, like even if I move to Canada, bro, I'm just gonna like flip burgers and shit, bro. Like, I just need to spend 1 year there, get the PR and call it a day. Peace. So I think there are some, this case of specialization that happens. Like for example, a certain region starts focusing on a certain particular thing. I mean, this is just the most abysmal. I mean, obviously there's like some economic aspects related to this, but at the end of the day, like, because I grew up in Hong Kong, let me give you Hong Kong's example. So Hong Kong only ever placed importance on its financial industry, right? So what ended up happening is Hong Kong's economy was propped up by tourists from mainland China, and this is before, I would say before 2019. Yeah, what happened in 2019 was there were like some big protests. Even in 2014 there were some big protests, and so since then I guess the tourist numbers were gradually decreasing. But 2019 is really when China's economy was doing incredibly well by that point, by 2019, right? And Hong Kong had these major unrests, like the protests, and after the protests quieted down, they quieted down because China actually released the NSL, which basically said that it's illegal to protest if you're protesting for wanting democracy, or if you're criticizing the CCP. So basically after that COVID happened, so 3 years, right, Hong Kong was shut. It was in fact, if I remember correctly, the last place in the world to open up its borders, right, its international borders. So those 4 years, tourism just pretty much died down, and then after Hong Kong opened up in 2023, in March of 2023, we didn't see the numbers grow to the numbers that there were pre-2019. So the tourist numbers. So then the government started talking, and the government started thinking, okay, why aren't the tourists coming back to Hong Kong? And they realized, holy shit, the people in China no longer give a shit about Hong Kong, right? They'd rather go to Singapore, they'd rather go to Japan, they'd rather go to South Korea, they'd rather go to Thailand or other countries in Europe, right? Because China had amassed, and its population had amassed immense spending power, right? 50% of all luxury goods in the world are purchased by Chinese people. So the government was basically caught with its pants down, because up until now, Hong Kong's really it's had this sort of, it's working, why change it, sort of focus on tourism, its service sector, and also its financial sector, right? So now, all of a sudden, it had to be like, oh shit, we need to attract tourists here. What do we do, right? So now the government's like, oh, since it opened up last year in March, it's been trying to like do different things, like, oh, have these different international events here, which have been a fucking joke, to be honest. And I'll give you an example. Taylor Swift had her like worldwide tour, and she didn't come to Hong Kong because, well, up until this year, Hong Kong didn't have a big stadium to have big events. So we had other events that were happening, they would happen at these smaller venues, and big stars aren't going to go to smaller venues, right? Like, but Hong Kong, the government of Hong Kong never gave a shit about this, because before 2019, before 2014, it was business as usual. And there's a cat over here, and it's coming up to me, and it's right behind me. There you go. Hi. Hi. Yeah, it's right there. Hey. So then they were like, okay, fuck, we need to build a stadium. And then so the stadium finished this year, and it's undergoing some tests, and we have Coldplay coming next year in April. Okay, so I guess it's a step in the right direction. It's a bit late, but I'll get into why it kind of doesn't matter if it's late. So I mean, the economy of Hong Kong is hurting right now, right? But the thing is, this is why it doesn't really matter. Yes, Hong Kong has lost its sort of, opportunities in terms of attracting tourists here, and is losing out to regional rivals like Shenzhen, perhaps, and also Singapore. It doesn't matter because people may move abroad from Hong Kong, and a lot of people did during COVID, but the city is not gonna vanish if the population drops or if the GDP drops like beyond a certain threshold. No, it's always gonna be here. And if people move out, like we've seen, a lot of people have moved out as a result of the tumultuous 4 years. Other people have come and taken their place. Like a lot of people from mainland China have come, and they are now working in Hong Kong or trying to work. That's another story. Like there aren't any jobs here, because the economy went down, and government released this talent pass program to attract talents from other countries, and 99 or 95% of them were mainland Chinese, and they came here and they're like, oh, okay, you said we're on this visa, we can't find a fucking job because there aren't any jobs here for the people that they attracted. So these people are just getting becoming insurance agents, and then other people in Hong Kong are criticizing them, okay, did we create this visa to attract insurance agents? Because they're becoming, the people on the top talent pass program are becoming insurance agents because one of the criteria to maintain the visa is to get a job. So if you are the people on the top talent pass program are trying to game the system and getting the employment as an insurance agent, sales agent, to fulfill the criteria of having a job and being able to extend the top talent pass visa. So the government released it and it backfired. So that's basically what that's what governments in Hong Kong, doesn't matter which, have always done. They've done something and it's always backfired, right? So governance in Hong Kong is basically shit. It's not just this government, it's been every government so far, since 1997. So and I have no clue about pre-1997. I'm not gonna get into that. Maybe government back then was shit as well. I mean, it was a colonial government, so that's bad in its own self. So no, but basically, yeah, new people will take its place, even if people move out. And it's just that Hong Kong's gonna change, which, let's be honest, I mean, everything changes, right? So another thing that the Hong Kong government's doing is, how Singapore has this Changi airport, which is the best airport in the world, and a lot of people spend time there and stuff. So Hong Kong's okay, fuck, they're now building something similar. So they're extending the airport, and they're going to build this huge fucking entertainment complex right next to the airport, which has a 600 berth yacht club. So they're gonna attract marine tourism, and it's gonna have a giant fish market similar to a giant fish market in Tokyo, which was its inspiration. And they're also gonna have something similar to what Changi Airport has, which is this shopping mall, which is super entertaining. So all the government's doing what it's doing, just to catch up, because it's realized the tourists don't give a fuck about Hong Kong anymore, right? And better late than never, right? I personally I'll see if I'll be able to enjoy any of that, because I don't know if I'm gonna live here in Hong Kong long enough to be able to, if I'm gonna be able to see these projects being completed. But that's that's how it is. Um, and so I've spoken about the tourist thing. Let's talk about like the finance thing. So Hong Kong's known as like this international finance center, or you know, it likes to call itself that. Finance makes up like some, you know, uh, how do I say, unignorable percent of the GDP, right? Unnegligible, right? Percent of the GDP. So a lot of times, and I mean, this is probably really important. I should probably make another video on this itself, because this is gonna be a long one.